Hello everybody and welcome to this video. Today we're going to try and fake outlines in reflections, much in the style of freestyle. Without further ado, let's dive right into it. So here I have a scene that I have cleaned up exactly for the purpose of this tutorial. The first thing that we're going to do is go to render view and see the result that we get. This composition is made up of notably this branch here, and if you look closely you can see that the reflection is not great. Now if I do a render, there is going to be another problem. I have freestyle enabled, and however good the result that you obtain with freestyle is, like for instance on the branch, then it falls short for things like, for instance, it doesn't work inside reflections. Another issue is that it doesn't outline the intersections between meshes like these two. Fortunately, we have solutions for these problems. So the easiest to fix is probably the reflection. So here in my reflection, you can see that I have this black shadow, and just at the bottom of the picture, I have some of the actual red reflected, but I may want more red, which I can do by moving my branch down, but there's a good reason why I'm not going to do that. So that's it for the problem. Now let's begin to have a look at the solution. So the solution I actually stole from another tutorial by Daniel Oakfield, the link of which you can find in the description. Go watch it, it's worth your time. So give us the solution, you're asking? Sure. All we have to do is add a reflection plane. So the reflection plane is actually going to change the way our glossy surface reacts. So yes, we have a glossy surface, as you can see here, with a roughness set to 0. The image input is just some whitish color. Back to layout. If we take this reflection plane and move it around our glossy surface here, now let's see what happens. Pretty different, right? So I guess you can all tell that it's really precise, especially when compared side to side with the bad one. Now all I have to do is move it around and resize it so that it encompasses the whole scene, and we have it now. It's much better. We can clearly see the roof here when we couldn't really see it much before. Maybe let's tweak it a little bit, move it and resize it again, and here. Among the benefits, you can see that our black shadow that we had before is gone now. So that will solve issue number 1, but if we do a render, we're still stuck with the other two problems. Bear with me for a second while Freestyle is doing its thing. Done. As you can see, here and here, we still have no line. As far as the line on the shore is concerned, there is a way to cheat it with a Boolean modifier. It has advantages and it also has drawbacks. One of them being that it's sometimes not resistant to animation. With Booleans, it often depends on your luck on the day, but it may work in some cases. So you may try. The reflections, on the other hand, is an entirely different matter. To try and get them anyway, we're gonna head to the compositor, and I'm going to go get something that I have downloaded before, which is Edge Nodes 1.1, and I'm gonna append one of its node trees. You can find it on the link that I have provided in the description. You may find out that it's not the latest version of node tree, but for this specific use, I encourage you to use 1.1 because the inner workings of the nodes are not exactly the same. And 1.1 works on a bitmap, whereas 1.2.4 relies on passes, and there may be a way to make it work on reflections, but I haven't found any myself. Now if I take the output of the render layer here, and if I plug it in the input of the 4K line normal node that I appended from the edge nodes file, just look at what it does. Simply put, it detects edges. So it's already pretty cool. I could probably do all my outlines like this. For what I want to do here, what I need to do is convert what I have to black lines and the rest be transparent. So the method I'm going to use here will probably make the purists faint or something. I'm not sure it's the best or the most efficient, but you know, it works. The luminance key is going to get rid of anything black on the picture. And I could, for instance, add a color here and turn the value back to 0 so that everything is black. And the output is exactly what we need now. Now, all we need to do is composite it with the rest. But if we do that, then we're going to run into another problem. And that problem is that now we have some lines that are doubled. Where there were lines before drawn by Freestyle, they are doubled by the lines that we just made with the setup down there. Just for comparison, this is with Freestyle only. And I don't want that on my branch because I was pretty happy with the Freestyle setup I had before. Also, you'll see why I didn't want to move the branch down on the picture more than that. If we can focus here, you see that we have intersections. And on the bridge reflection, you can see that we have lines. So it's really not so bad. Nevertheless, we can do better than that. So now I'm going to do a render, and well, you may not see it, but one of the main advantages of this solution is that it doesn't really add much overhead when rendering. That composition method is pretty much free. So now the render is done. What I'm going to do is take this image and save it, like on my desktop, for instance, and I'm going to call it reference. Now I'm going to head to masking, and the first thing I'm going to do is go get the image I just saved as reference and add it as our clip. So this method is going to work for something that doesn't really move around a lot, because if it did, the masking would be really more difficult. So I'm in mask mode, so I'm just going to add a mask, and I'm going to call it water. Obviously I had one before, which is why it's called water 001. The way to define the shape of the mask is to add points with control click. So yeah, control click and control click again will give you the a line between the two dots, unless you're like me and you're fiddling with it. And you just go around the shape that you want until you have something roughly the shape of the area that you want to mask. It could be more precise, but for what we have to do right now, it's all right. Alt-C closes the mask, and you're good to go. Let's go back to compositing now, and what I'm going to do is add the mask with input mask, and the output of the mask is going to be the input of the factor of our alpha over node here. So I'm selecting my mask, water 001, and you can see that nothing happens. I'm not sure what's happening here. So let's try to refresh the viewer maybe. Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. Strange. So the result is that we have our freestyle lines where the mask is not applied, and where it is applied, we have our outline from edge nodes. We can probably do a bit better. Because of the reflection plane, we have these strange artifacts here, and we can probably cheat that by adding a blur node. So I'm going to give a value x and y of 3, and it should improve our reflection a bit. Let's do a render to see how it is. Let's cut the useless 10 seconds. So that's our result. As you can see, we have the lines we promised at the beginning of the video. We can see the roof. We can see the bridge reflecting in the water with outlines as well. So I'd say it's a pretty interesting result. Now, in all fairness, you don't actually have the same control over your lines that you have with Freestyle. But you have lines where Freestyle is not able to produce any. And you have intersection of meshes for free as well. So I'd say the deal is pretty sweet. So it may work here, especially because the masking is quite simple. If it were to be more complicated, that would probably be a problem. Like if we wanted to have that branch to go down here, then it would be a hassle doing the mask because of the details of the flowers. There would probably be a solution if you would be willing to switch to cycles with Cryptomatte, but this is a solution I have not explored yet. For now, that's the end of the tutorial, so don't forget to go to the description to check the links. You can leave a comment, a like, subscribe if you want, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.